I know him, that's me. Oh, shit. I didn't realize you could hear me. Thank you so much. That was our show. Have a great night. Welcome, everybody, to the first student reading of the 50th Summer Writing Program. That's you. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves because you deserve it. Business before pleasure. I have a very special request. We have a scholarship student here who is not going to be here next week. Is there a student here who is going to be here next week who would be willing to go to the bottom of the list and risk not getting to read tonight so that Sophia can get on our stage?
Has Bobby been crossed off? Oh, yeah. Bobby's not here.
Look at how that works out. Yes. Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you. So in my experience, everyone has always gotten to read. Some people, like Bobby, as we have just discovered, tend not to make it, and then other people will not use their entire 5 minutes. So hopefully everyone on here gets to read, but we do have to stop at 9:30, so be aware of that. Please be very pro about your 5 minutes. Poets, presumably know how long their poems feel like. Kind of imagine how long my poems are when I look at them. So 5 minutes and 9:30 hard stop. And I sort of realized last year that we were doing do people remember we were doing the hands? We all raised our hands and hey, the 5 minutes is up. So it turns out when you're staring at your paper, you don't see the hands. And that didn't work so good. So I have a different idea this year, and I'd like to test it out. So my idea is that at exactly 5 minutes, I will start to hum. And just wait 5 seconds or so, and then start humming along. And as the time goes on, hum louder. And try to hum a different note than whatever you hear around you or whatever you hear me doing. And then we can have this beautiful crescendoing music to warm people off the stage instead of gonging them off the stage. So let's try it. Beautiful. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. First up is Juniper Balbus Holmquist.
Water, we need it. You don't need it to live. Oh, yeah. So I'm reading from basically just something I compiled that I like to call things called Poems for Tonight, spelled POMS for as in FU umlaut R 2 hyphen NITE. I'm going to start. So the first poem is called I Am You. It starts with an epigraph from the Smashing Pumpkins. Today is the greatest day I've ever known. Can't live for tomorrow. Tomorrow is much too long. I was you in a line art, in attention spans. I was beautiful submission in your arms. I was the sing scream. I was you before as our atoms mixed into far long past. I was your lover, in attention spans. I was beautiful submission in her arms. I was the sing scream. I am you. I am in love with you. When you ride your surfboard chakra waves down my neckline, I am you. When you are alive in a space, I feel your heart. When I am myself, you feel mine. I want to be gentle, soft skin like you. I want to bleed pink, not blue. I want to share something. Liberate me, liberate me, liberate me. You're so pretty. You couldn't be more so. I am not. Too brusque, too brash. Am I kissable for the perfect forest fire burn? I want to be you. You need to be so perfect in me. So I am ekphrasis of your lived experience. Your veiny leg blows in your dress slit. That's a graphic Eros wording. It hurts to look at you. I could be that. I could be that. I could be that. I could be that. But I'm not, and I love you, and that's a close enough match. All its beauty imagined, all its beauty imagined. Stop imagining, kiss me, it's so unbearable. To beat me up would be enough because I'd be touched by something holy, some Diana, some Athena, some mythic thing. So heavy, I am Atlas carrying the world. I didn't drop, flinch, or yet shrug. So heavy, my love touched by something holy, some Diana, some Athena, some mythic thing. I am that mythic thing. I am that Diana, that Athena, that something holy. You will kiss me, I will not be kissed. You will fuck me. I will not be fucked. You will. I will not be done to. Make me your universe. Make me your universe. Make me your universe. I am you. This is a slightly more gentle poem. Love poem after not loving for a long time. Yeah. Sometimes you just find people and it's insane. Oh God, you fucking arrested me. I wasn't ready. You were so gorgeous. What a girl, woman. Where the hell is that cusp anyway? I want to write your name in here. That would make no sense. Love isn't real yet. Can you make it? I think we make a lot of sense, but I'm prone to the delusional. I love to love. I love to be in love. I love love. Having only known in that night in the Dakin dorm, September 2023, that time I wasn't projectivist, which I confused with the psychological term projection, whatever. I mean, I wasn't making it up. And on Bullshit, Harry G. Frankfurt writes, the bullshitter ignores these demands altogether. He does not reject the authority of the truth as the liar does and oppose himself to it. I find it curious he only uses him pronouns. Bullshit has always been the domain of trans women or bardic men with baritones. Aren't those the same anyway? One side of a flipped coin in estradiol? Like a whoring bitch, I love you, and I'm way too scared to announce it to you, and it's never gonna be love. Unless you fucking come up here and tell me and photograph it, frame it, and tie it in an amulet blow. I love you. God, let me love again. Let me love again. Let me love again. In the intercommons and the agora, let me love again. Like a cowgirl on her horse, let me have a love built on trust that doesn't fall apart, that survives the horizon off of Columbus's flat, ending world. Skipping a very long one that I don't think is appropriate to read. Visions of Gideon, after Sufjan Stevens. It starts with an epigraph also. I have loved you for the last time. Is it a video? The hollow scream of the Bataille hole where all the money goes. Your love of me, my aching spinal tear. Will you be mine? Will you eat my heart? Like Bertrand Mandinko, she is Conan. Will you cannibalize me in your brilliant shining love? Will you love me ever, even once? How do I ask? How do I ask? How do I ask? You are beautiful, beauty queen beautiful. Can I hold you? Can I let you melt like a pear in my brandy base? How can I be so beautiful yet so unkissed? I am in adoration. I am in adore. I am in the combination of the albums. You know who you are. When you walk in, I look at what your outfit is that day. You are so gorgeous. I'm bursting at the seams. I want to remember you.
It's so pretty. I love it. I hope that happens to every poem. Kaylee King is next.
Okay, I got a little crazy this time. I have a video to go with the poem that I made. So if you were here during orientation, I talked about how my new obsession is a wind chime. So I have a video of this wind chime, and then I made a poem to go with it. Just a fun little experiment. I recorded this during the Crow full moon. So here we go. The Crow full moon pours a chilly cream light, bathes with milk and lye. A forest of wind chimes welcomes a crafted cousin, the voice of silence, breathes life into stratus cloud curtains, sheer sheets of gossamer snow, empty brown bell, faux leather buttons with lattice pie faces, convex new moon orb of modern steel, amethyst gems pulled taut by a plump bunch of grapes, glinting silver in a nostalgic light. Listen for the ball rolling in its silver case, and know you still believe. Metallic twined thread knots navy cylinders. Sway, creak, chime, hollow ring, hold hum, fade into, cawing 3 times. Turquoise heart locket, an estate sale find made Christmas gift from my grandmother after she cut out minuscule pictures to put inside, setting and chaining Arwen's immortality to give to a beloved. Long life spins away from me, hiding her crooked crystal face. Front-facing is her elder, a Luthwen-like dancer. Her shadowless spins entrance all eyes as she performs in a silver pool, set in flame-colored marble, dotted with orange irises with oranger pupils, all mesmerized by the grace that will grant their freedom and his attention and his love. Unfaltering, ever poised, performing slow, time-slowing swirls, a cloth of tasseled white, the letter A, calligraphy inked and embroidered, a new title to bear, curled in a pearled chain. Ting, ting, goes the medal for having memorized the most lines from Bob's Burgers. Strung sunlight studded with bronze emblems, clear crystal blossom, transparent bud, refracting the light reflecting off the snow, ding, echoing ring, hold hum, holding hum, fade, wait for her arrival, and then you will hear the voice of silence. Ruby, red-eyed sun, the swaying of a set pendant of painted flowers, 2 dangling debutantes dare a gold-plated invocation. A yellow sun and a crescent moon balance silver-plated clouds, who write in an unrecognizable sans serif, when you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine. And I want to tell Snow White, I can't control the weather, so maybe try to enjoy the raindrops, dangling like gray moonstones over silver chains. Hung bead bracelet with a difficult clasp, a sister gift, while away for a destination wedding. 3 sapphire stones divided by 3 waving lines, rippling through glass hearts. Tap, clink, hollow ring, hold hum, caw, caw, caw. A glowing ribbon of coral-threaded pink hearts, metallic beads of bubblegum pink, not rose gold string, a constellation, clink, says the shifting air. Chime, hollow ring, hold hum, fade into the voice of silence. Thank you.
The list is not on my phone. Why was I doing that? Up next is Aja Pink Davis.
Hello. You are dead, dying. Wake up. Invading in on our performance, a storm awaits. It quickly becomes endlessly strange. The golden, sewn into the sky banner, the sun is now shadowed, the sun is now stone. I am hanging vertical and beckoning you, your body, vacuous vessel. No matter how hard I kiss you, you are already dead. You do not crave, you burn holes in your skin, forget how to breathe. The sky is sinking and inky. Bombs drop of white cloud. It strikes you, you are afraid, but do not move. You sing, but do not salve the wound. They wait for you, coward, to become a warrior. They wait for you, coward, to make the land a drum. The dragon pressing you to feel the skin you touch, you stay lying. Trying to fool him with your shy song. You pretend not to burn, you melt absurd. The lion in the blue, you do not blow, you must soften first. You plague the angel with your thunder rocking. You take her wings and fly too close to the sun. You will not reach. The protectors of the sky disagree. The wild bird of vanity, may we all blow our horns, remove you from your body, watch you rocking, lost all dignity, asleep, asleep, asleep. I move as quick as wind, asleep. I make the choirs sing, asleep. I bring you the tiger's bow, asleep. You paint the stripes and pretend to roar, beckoning my blood to red, shadowed like flames in the pine. You circle your way around the golden sun, which is shining through the eyes. We feel each other's heat, but you are still asleep. Absence. My wanting you hurts, and the pain makes a noise. It is brilliant and informal. I am a road and I need to be fed by the ground underneath and the need to rumble, to be tarmac, yellow and straight, surrounded by flat lands. My memory fails me, so I ditch the road and become the sky and start again. You fail me, so I start again. I fail me, so I start again. The world fails me, so I start again. Of course, you are just down the street, or up an alley I forgot how to get to, you poor sad thing. So we take a trip and go back to childhood, or the tape, or the back of your truck, and reconstruct the churning of events, absence, and wanting to be somewhere busy. So everybody around me can be crying, and I can be still, like a monument, that will be there till the Big Bang, then I will start again. The earth fails me, and I will start again. I fail the earth, then I start again. I start again, I start again, I start again. We have left Earth. Do you remember the blast, occupying when we left? Our voyage up? My specter of the sun, my specter of the stars, looming, luminous, black space across the white plain. They are waiting. They are always turning and experiencing. When did we leave? Do you remember, like a painting, chariot of fire, your resurrection, our voyage up, mother, our resurrection, our victory? The sounds of the space, our victory is luminous. Our victory is landmine patterns of red blood bled, a burial poem. I'm going up without you. I'm a prophet of the sky. Gravity, isn't that extraordinary? Gravity, doesn't that light you up? Diving into the egg, our spaceship, our mother, between atom and dream, between silence and the great machine, we have left. No escaping what you have already occupied. The chariots of fire are bobbing and waiting for us to resurrect our victory, our voyage, our hell, our paradise, our light, our experiments, our constant, our selfish, our hopeful. When your vision goes out, a blue winding figure comes to take you. The sound they give you is a particular love like no other. is the sound of a home without judgment. Glowing, pink banners send light. There is no guilt. It shapes the murderous machines. Naked and falling into heaps of ashes like a sperm diving into the egg. Our spaceship dives into mother between atom and dream. The prayer you hear when you are taken home. When they ask you if you remember, what will you say? Thank you.
Y'all, that was 5 minutes to the second, I shit you not. Fucking pro. Thank you, Aja. Up next, Shannon Sky.
There are people in this room like Aja who will be at SWP 100. Think about that. That is amazing. You may remember from last year, I'm a fan of Jack Kerouac's American Haikus, so I have a few. The door was closed tight, the window was not opened, yet a moth got in. Dead bird on the ground near the base of a glass door, blood drips from its head. Near knee-high green leaves, a squirrel leaps from the stone wall, the sycamores loom. This one's called A Poem from the Sky Condo. In the drawer where we keep the mailbox key, I found my house sitter's pack of cigarettes, yellow box American spirits. I flipped open the lid and held them in front of my face and then took the deepest breath when I realized how delicious it would be to smoke one after all these years. I put them back in the drawer where we keep the mailbox key. This is the latest episode in the series. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, what is the opposite of a complaint? I could be drunk till I fucking die, but right now I'm high and it's time to go to bed. Eating the house sitter's ice cream, hum flatfoot flugy with the floy allows me to be brave. Brave bagels, Dixie nurses, repairs, campground buffet, Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, oh Vaute, four winds, laws of attraction elevator, the trail, homemade pie, call the roadie, Logan, lowdown prairie grass. I don't want to get drafted and see the marching melted army men get a scoop of boogie at the Dairy Queen Marine in the Hamptons. Stronger comfort. Ban wildlife killing contests. Ban the Cracker Barrel. They will meet you there. Get hit with a cement mix. Girls, women, and ladies in Lincoln, Springfield to St. Louis. A slim visit with the poet gets a Distinguished Service Cross for visiting the bunker. I know you're in there, Greater Dane. Every other stripe on the flag is red, like blood and a stop sign. Thank you. This thing is called This Thing. In France, they kiss on Main Street. In Maine, they kiss on the French Street. When you realize you can do anything you want, that's when the trouble starts. Make them all say, there goes Shannon Sky, favorite of a powerful god. All Windhorse and Drella and the butcher's baker. The butcher's baker, who's your savior? Raw people can do anything they want. A few do everything they want. I pulled a dead butterfly from the hinge of my car's bonnet. I stopped and said a short prayer. Hope their next go around improves. This wicked thing hurts me so. Raw, manse. Cosmic powers of the present darkness. Are you surprised you got caught in the toilets of the universe? I drew a line in the scene all around ecstasy and I just wouldn't do it. Don't be flirting with boys. Death don't have no mercy. It can't be slowed. It cannot be stopped. Best enjoy your life while you can. You know the number, but what were you counting? Was it my life? I guess we'll never know. I'm going to try and do some new shit. It's like Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theater. These were written for Cedar's class. Sailing against the wind. Sailing against the wind, trying to influence the outcome, but the boat is going to go where it's going to go. It cannot be stopped. It can't even be turned. All that can be done at this point is complain about it because it cannot be helped. But bitching about the force of the wind is useless too. When this is all done, will it even matter? Should it even matter? Be here, let go, count the money or the graces as you like. I began as wrong, and now I'm right, or at least righter. Isle of the Dead. Loud noise from the oars, in and out of the heavy black water, heavy sinking waves, the trumpets summoning lost souls. On the day of wrath, we sail to the Isle of the Dead. Cold breath escapes slow. Our lives and deaths are intertwined. And I think I got time for one more. It's called Fossil Gazing. Tiptoeing up the old Spanish steps next to the old house where the poet died. Need a live outlet because he is gone, done gone. He's solid gone. All he left behind, dynamite in his pocket and a name written in water. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Pondering negative capability, consecutive reasoning, I sit here alone, dreaming of pyramids, a cat on Shelley's ledger. Thank you.
Next up is a cat on Shelley's ledger. Cat Lipscomb.
Okay, so the first piece is dedicated to C.A. Conrad in your class, where you had us whisper and sing and speak and sit near the sycamore tree. And it goes like this. Oh, sycamore, I see you in my eyeball. All right, this is from a translation project. It's called Arrhythmia We Wore. And I'd like to dedicate this one to the Queen of Poetry, our Anne. And so arrhythmia is a heart condition where the heart goes off beat. Okay. Arrhythmia we wore. We war, we fight, we conclude our arms, only tar-burned roots and punctuation. Branches reach for tenderness, no one knows where they come from. Of course, the way death is detected by a dog, of its owner in a coffin. Money lies in the wallet, doesn't smell like anything. The perfume of money sleeps in the death of grace. Eyes cease to blanket, the warblers fight, wayfarers detect, eyelashes to ceiling. Of course, exhausted urchins search for city lights, win so little, lose so much. Retired falcons misguided by planes, motherless wings, and murdered birds. But, seeing a friend cry. We war dress, we figurehead, it's still the same part. It's a little long. We war dress, we figurehead, we conclude our armchairs. Debacle of gradient degradations. Eyefuls of opinions waver under having to form something solid. Dominance of leaning towers. The mending pile is stacked. But, no one knows where they come from. The art of conversation crumbles under the preacher, the lawyer, the politician. Do you ever want to eclipse an ache? The hole in your chest irrigates all the other holes left unended, oxygen in a coil, the monitoring of lifelines in the walloping of news, deathbed of gradations. But, a fright cubicle gleams in an icicle. We are filaments of wallflowers, watching on the perimeters, debit of gain. The newspaper used as wallpaper, as drawer liner, an open shell, smog-like breath from a rotten oyster, ozone in a Coke. Rosettes in your worried bangs, tar buries rosebuds. To an oyster catcher, it isn't a coincidence. Gladiolas bloom, we bloom, first inwardly, before organizing the outer. No one knows where they come from. Only the brave reach for tenderness, hands tied behind the back and shoeless. Bras reach for depth. Of course, no one knows where they come from. The monolith isn't smoking like anything. The weathercock is on fire, is detected by a doll. A pacemaker cools in a colander under the tap. Periwinkles waltz down the drain. We warm up our armies under the moonlight. Off course, off course, off course. No one knows where they come from. We warn, we flip, we conclude our aromas, only taste buried troubles and punctuation. When no one wakes you up in the morning, is it freedom or loneliness? Monopoly money doesn't smooth out anything. To the decade in a dollop, its pacifier and colitis, it weaves its lights, it wanders around the perks, decades of grand fables of cellophane. The weaver and its pacifist are in a collaboration. They frizzle in a cul-de-sac with the cat, the top hat, the dinosaur. No one knows where they come from. Of covering, one of the deadly arrhythmias, one of the deadliest, amnesia, synesthesia, and power cuts. And lighthouses in the wandering, no one knows where they come from. The web decathlon is detected by the dolphin. Fabrication, cemetery, fabric, cement. We paved over conversation. But, the monologues don't French like anything. When nobody wakes you up in the morning. Seen a friendly crypt, a frizzled cul-de-sac, a frisk cuddle, a fright cubicle, and an icicle gleams, a friendship crystal, wild and bizarre cardiac morphology. The heart's, of course, goes off course. Stop the heart, the world, a cacophony, warring to be heard all at once, in hopes. It will reorganize itself. It will reorder itself. Put the pulse back in place in hopes, beats, from every corner of the heart, world. Won't initiate at the same time, but, if no one knows where they come from. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kat. Up next is the ubiquitous Andy Riley. I say that because he is everywhere at all times.
I cannot see you. My father would say this is the kind of thing you wear pants to. So I have a little medley to read for all of you. Canal with water in it, are you anything different from the pain in my hand? Watching death get all kaiju and then wash away. Lofty, 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 not mocking. Oh, I don't try it. In a digital medieval bar, a sadness head high. Animated clouds as exciting, meeting eyes. Look at this noun I found, floral. Raccoon in the catalpas, the one dance that kills blood of likeness, one big opal eye stays opening. Arm's length 3 li from close factness of that first kiss I wince. Meaning half not there. Keeping in step is not for using the whole leg. Trapped in a still. Scraping by a coliseum. My ears finally pop. Thank you.
It's like a 60 seconds to the second. Up next is Huck Shine.
So this timer. Enter a space of grief with me in a world of tragedy that exists paradoxically with the possibility of love and beauty. This one's called Her Morning Window. She stands at her window and she dreams. She dreams as the wind presses at the sails of the seasons. Ships of sun and snow sail by under her steady, slow, and watchful eye. She sings songs of bitter winter nights alone. She spins stories of her hero's journey home. Softly she sings, slowly she speaks. So tenderly she folds her words of strength and love into the sweet, soft hollow of a prayer. This one's called The Truth and the Kiss. Silly how we see such big love inside the smallest of things. The ink she spent drawing a heart in my hand, a secret truth shared in sacred vulnerability. The light in her eyes and her voice when she sings. Quiet talk of little shining rings. Dreams shared with eyes stitched together in time. The truth and the kiss on her perfect pouting lips, just waiting there for me to call it mine. The salt in that one shining tear she couldn't help but let fall. Oh, how the sweetest, softest of things weigh nothing at all. It's much like the weight that's upheld in the holding of hands, simply not possible to just let it float away. One can only hold tight and fast as a boat sinking far beyond the bay might hold to a wish for her captain to stay, as the soft, crackling sigh of the fire whispers all of the cruelty and longing that is love and desire. And sometimes we can do things with poetry. I wrote some new shit in this class with Ambrose and James, and it was all fucking effervescent. Y'all are all the coolest people I've ever met. So here's some grief processing, untitled as of yet. And so here we go again at the end of all good things. Her twisted craft shadowed in her spinning secret screaming. We're never going to be enough, not against what has come to pass. Comes the void. And so she flies from the lake into the loon, down the mountain into June, a river of cold moonlight. Comes her wrath, comes her might, comes the things that winter brings, gray skies on heron wings. And so she sings. Oh, halcyon, high on violet wing, come down into the turbulent, frothing waters of my mercurial heart and nest upon the waves there. Calm them with vesper song to crystal clear and glass. Let me not be guiled by beautiful reflections of past. American sentences, American haikus and sentences got brought up, so we'll do a few of those. A poet will wonder if asphalt is a love letter to the sky. A poet will wonder if asphalt is capable of deep, true love. This one's for Caleb, he liked it. A poet will wonder if sidewalks are the language of people's feet. And he's everywhere. I'll leave you with this one. Andy Riley is so bunt cake and he is covered in strawberries.
Up next is Eden.
Let's go! Former CSU students.
Yes. Emphasis on the former. Okay, I was gonna come up here and say like content warning, confessional bullshit, but real content warning, some mentions of sexual assault. So if you need to take a second. Virginity dirge for Andy. Oh, virginity, you are heavier than anything I've owned, the weight of a house cat or a spotted hyena. You are moon perfect, with holes all over and carry-on sticks in your side. You had one thing going, young androgynous virility. Or like when a boy-girl meets a girl to discover some manufactured difference, that unprepared for floundering. Do fish learn to puff out their gills, to flatten under pressure? Leagues of sodium chloride and hydrogen lay on me. Do boys learn to use bodies by rote or by disassociation? Virginity, it isn't like I want you back. I don't need that feline weight in my jungle. Mostly it's how you fled, as if you never existed. As if I was a painted lady made to look threatening for forlorn predators, as if I were to understand this reaction based on small strands of light, moving pictures, no faces dancing the same repetitive move, the way flounders dance on a dock, not a single tranny flick to guide me. What are you dancing for? Who wins? Who curtsies on this phallus or bows for this curtain call? I know everyone eats, but there's a better menu. The point of which you're gone. I don't know which way you went. She was a 3-pound witch who would kill herself for a broomstick. Sorry. And I was a leopard masquerading as a seahorse, giving out rides for free. Her weight was unbearable and I could not breathe, but we made a cute couple and she left me with all my spots. Okay, what time is it? That took 2 minutes, so I'm just gonna read. I'm gonna read one more. Okay, tolerable clause. Impossibly crowded cafe, snips of vibrate, one hammered larynx caught mid-drift, blank me out, arms catch your shoulders. Arms catch your shoulders, we can lay our spines against in a town safe enough. Feel mated for a second, watch her lips feel mated, only feel gay with a cis girl lay in her lap by the church for a second. Mom still gives tags, say Santa, embarrassed present, laugh old money, tolerable clause. Thank you.
CSU, CSU. If anybody wants to be super jealous of me, I have personally autographed copies of books by the last 3 readers. Up next is Caleb Cheadle.
All right. I've got one piece for you tonight that I wrote Monday in Cedar's workshop. Absolutely. All right. This is When Did the Coffin Get Its Corners Back? Bygone the mimicry of head, shoulders, the tapering to ground point. No sarcophagus in this funeral parlor, no mortuary laden with the shells of vampires. Instead, the casket, wholly square, wholly prescribed, as death is from the doctor. What takes up the space of the corners when the lid is closed? A home for a beetle, perhaps, but this is not the intention. Knock the corners back off. I prefer to rest shapely in death. An elemental catalyst, one that changes not any one element, but the element, the piece, the function. Thrust from rocket launch to the moon, I must digress to say I'm feeling fine, narrow, linear of an electric frequency. Digression aside, what is the chemical reaction at the core, exothermic process of release, expansion, trace veins of cosmos and cell, peel it back onion-wise and let the rest walk out? I once lived above, but the air in the echo chamber was thin. I once lived below, but the oppression of the water table felt damp in my core. I once lived between, but couldn't make sense of up or down, had no steady reference, could gauge no altitude. I moved then to the side, lest my confusion pollute my neighbor, they who seem content in this white space of aimlessness. I live now around, ethereal, presence known through temperature, not sight, through viscosity of space once occupied, heated, expanded, abandoned. Hole of holes in this white space. I left town the other day, but you'd never know it. The town too large and I not two at least. They whisper on the corner, but I can't discern subject if there is one. You ever know someone that talks just to hear themselves speak? Why do we charge such a person with negative sentiment, ions, yet blind eye those who would write just to see their own words on the page? Something must take up the space for us to notice its absence. Necessity, or is it urgency, peeking from behind barn shadow across the long yard? I left town because the town wasn't me anymore. I'll root settle when I found my space again. Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Up next is Brian Alarcon.
There you go. Thank you for your patience. First of all, I would like to thank Frank here with me because I told him about this literally as we got here. And we have never performed this, so, you know. So we're gonna see how it goes. Yes. Okay, here we go. This is the first poem of an album I'm working on, and it is called Banana Man. On a corner of the old neighborhood, I saw him pass with a sack of bananas on his back. I thought that was strange because we're at sea level, so I called him up and said, "Hey, yo, where'd you get that?" And he said, "I stole it, manito, from the man up the hill with the big farm." And I knew that farm like it was the whole mountain on the map, so I told him, "Why didn't you ask for it? You never know." And the bananas weighed more than him. So I took one to help his back end. You never know. You can't discount that he's a giving man. Like, that many bananas can make him $20 or... 3 blocks down, I found myself at the park to beat that irreverent heat when a lady in her suit and top hat sat next to me to sweat a little. And we watched one of those women from the highway that passes through town glisten a little too much. But as she got closer, we noticed there was glitter and Victoria's Secret, so I laughed with the top hat lady when she asked her for a little coin to cool a hot old woman. A hot old woman. Next thing I knew, I was manic, plowing the land by the river to unearth some of the whistles I had given it last summer to see if it could tone down their shrieking. Banana Man was on the other side, bathing, so I said to him, "Hey yo, put your pants on." And he said something about his bananas, which I couldn't hear over the current blasting the rocks. And then he got closer saying, "There ain't no shame in nature." And I agreed, and I scrubbed my whistles with my own pants and there ain't no shame in nature. And he played one of the hot rocks. He knew how to dance, and I knew how to speak. Endlessly, 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 endlessly,
Believe me,
endlessly,
I'm no frog ass.
endlessly,
Life surprises you,
endlessly,
banana man. Life surprises you.
endlessly,
The fish eat shampoo off you in this crack between mountains.
endlessly,
I ain't no frog.
endlessly,
I'm proper, like a pistol. You know what I do know? That man ain't never ate shit off his farm. I'm pistol. Bats. Hey, banana man. I ain't no bat. I'm easy. I'm low to the ground. Frog shit. You know my mother, that land woman? She won't leave. It's personal. The streets, shoes don't fit my feet. Back. No, none. Life surprises you. Hot land.
And your mother.
She love us together. And I'm bat.
Endlessly, endlessly,
Endlessly, endlessly,
You know who was a great woman? Your father's mother, Ophelia, daughter of that quack Julia. Man, you look just like her, don't you think? Don't you see it? But you can't cure shit, pistol boy. Your father's mother either, but she was gorgeous, man. No one was surprised when she made it out of here with that Blanco, and now look at you, man, here on vacation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Next up is Jack McSweeney.
Of course I'm after Brian. This is all new shit. You may be right. You mean you want, like what? I mean somewhere like that. Somewhere half hidden in dry wind. Bingo, you could say. Not sure, you could say. In a warm, fuzzy way, you could say no. A living will. Jesse. San Francisco lights vibrate imperceptibly across the water. The shrouded sailboat is a flying spark in the distance. Amorphous silhouettes maneuver the inky water. Van. 3 letters you throw up on the AT&T warehouse, and the disquiet in which I wait for the cops to come, never come. Father. Pool water from the Y. You make your shoulders into handlebars, and I glide like a beach ball. Mother. Deepness of breath, cat's paws on my soft belly, a remedy for every discomfort. America. A collection of used guitar strings, the faded bronze, the rusted steel. Ecliptic arrangement. And this one ends with a quote from Jebu by Atel Adnan. We always saw paradise on TV. You can film it so close to the sun, close-up of Etel clutching her glasses to the moon. We should not forget the great machine still on Earth. Flesh for flesh, moon for moon. The moon came out. It said, I got a very serious flu. White speck on twilight blue. If we don't pay attention on Earth, on TV, the computer a little bit, Arab suffering be absolute. Twin stumps. One is ambitiously up and to the left. The other, slightly shorter, slouching. Both reach from a mound. There is a hole. No, a patch of grass. No, the unseeable. No, smoke rising. No, speechlessnesses. No, pushing up earth. No, triplets. No, everyone. No, not rain. No, a diagram. No, reaching out again. No, an accident. No, a while. No, they need me. No, way to talk to you. No passion, no longer. I actually put in some effort. You treat people discourteously and fuck everything up. It was no accident. I may or may not be here when you need me. You are posing proudly like a retired ballerina. Instead, I try. Everyone needs hours right now. I hear regular complaints. I am living beyond my means. I am living a fairly ordinary life. I am paying it off. There was some commotion, something to do with the ongoing conflict. The past is the past, she recalls. Thank you.
Everyone needs hours right now. Next up is Justin Krivoa. Did I say that right? Is that correct? Krivoa.
It's Krivda for the archive. Patrick, are we able to get the image? If not, it doesn't matter. I got some licks for you guys. First, I just want to say thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah, boom. So this is, I got two licks first from a manuscript called Ginkgo Jack. This one's called Planting Time. I would like to talk with you. I came here to pull weeds out from the roots so they can no longer choke the garden. It isn't easy work, and it takes quite a toll, and it has to be done. I had pulled these weeds long ago, but I must have missed the roots, and now they're running rampant. There's still time to trace the roots and rip them from the past until the soil left behind before the seasons change. The last frost will soon depart, and I will begin my work. These weeds must be pulled soon, or they will overrun me. I can use your help if you have the strength, but I cannot let the garden die. I haven't even planted my trees yet. I've hoped for some time for you to join me in the garden and uproot the weeds we've left behind. I cannot make you care to work, and you cannot live through me. You must be willing to dig yourself. My work awaits regardless. I am learning how to grow. I am not afraid to dig, and I will not miss the roots this time. I will clear these grounds of trauma and raise here a great ginkgo and set beneath it with my children and teach them how to grow. So you are welcome to pull weeds with me, and we can learn together, but you will have to do the work. And it is not easy. And it takes quite a toll. And it has to be done. Winter Road Return. God damn. A mountain woman on my mind. A new home on the horizon. A long list of laundry to do. Broken reckless from rhythm, flying east into the coming cold. Been a while since I got to track the cattails blowing past at highway speed or wander into the cloud sea, catching this branch or that silo against the sky canvas, peering into the black of an unzipped hunting blind. Ma asked for rock and roll, paranoid, sitting with the sadness as rows of dead-headed grain phase into clarity section by section, tracing the thresher tracks snaking since summer, A few days before Christmas, just cold enough to keep the flies down, just warm enough for the black heifers to set and chew cud and watch the caravan of crow. Somewhere on the turnpike, winter seeps into the roots of the wild grass, fields of cool gold give to hills of shale and pine, and the children of the earth lie nestled in the reddish thick. On the winter road, parting boneyard and granite, carving into the sleeping umber of coal shadow to bear the depth of solitude and retrieve a few last seeds from our homeland to prepare for planting time. She still loves her seashells, and they remind her of Aruba. She still loves her stuffed cat, and they remind her of Boomer. And the boisterous woman of my memory lies cold, solid, paper skin bled gray, her face smaller than my palm, her laugh faint as the moon viewing mouse, but not silent. I hear it echo in the canyon in the photograph. Put the shells to my ear and hear it. Outside, twinkling in the mountain black, sleeping little coal towns and the steady lapping of rubber on pavement along the twisted winter road. I can still smell it. The whole house stunk up with kraut. I can still taste it. Stuffed shell, pierogi, pitzel, pumpkin cookie, as my ma carries on the legacy of a woman who never let down her mother's guard. There were times I remember refuge from the slow seep of poison in the warmth of this impregnable woman, now hardly a shell stuffed with poison and preserves in her sunset rose, unbound by sacrament. She showed me it's fine to make yourself up, to tell him to shove it, to be strong and show it, to be kind but give no quarter. I heard they put her in a home and I worried for my grandpap. I see they put her in a box and I worry for myself. She showed me strength and softness, but not yet how to wield them. And the meandering wakes of confusion and insight, suffering and triumph propagating beneath my feet, belie the lessons I am still learning, burn the blazes yet to come. Gonna end things with a little Tsukimi Uta, means moon viewing song. Slobbering with glee, the damn dog bolts from the fire, splashing through the ferns. Two things you can bet. That cricket ain't shutting up. Them leaves gonna fall. A lonely spider runs into the cold black depths of the telescope. A leaf blower roars way across the lily pads, and the crickets cut as the motor starts and stops, crying tears of blood and gold. Rising through the leaves, banjo, poem, ember, pop, smoke-stung, moonlit eyes. Falling from the mug of lukewarm desktop bean juice, two little brown leaves. There's that strange young man at the end of the driveway mumbling to no one. Shini no ato, sake sukida shijin to tsutaero. After I am dead, tell them I was a poet who likes sake.
I love that it actually says licks on your notebook. Next up is Cherie Brown.
This will be a video called Haint Blue. It's a piece about the archive of ancestors, the archive that's inherent in a place of origin and the dialect of that place, the sounds and conversations that make up a place. In Gullah Geechee communities, a haint refers to an evil spirit, possibly a revenant, although classifying spirits is notoriously hard to do. Across the South, porch ceilings were painted haint blue as a method of warding off these malevolent spirits. Can you hold on just a second on it? While the haint blue ceiling keeps malicious ghosts out, an ancestral altar brings desired spirits in. When we work with ancestry, we consume the past and choose what to bring forward with us, what to propitiate, what to ward off, and what to honor. As I was working into these frames, I found a conversation with the dead emerging. It both contains and is itself an altar to the living relationship with that archive. It's also about the way the ghost of language perpetuates itself down through bodies and voices, and in the retelling, a strengthening of those resonances. The photos and some parts of the audio featured in the piece are mine. Music is a cut-up of other musical artists. This is Saint Blue.
Stories was everything, and everything was stories. Everybody told stories. It was a way of saying who they were in the world. It was their understanding of themselves. It was letting themselves know how they believed the world worked, the right way and the way that was not so right.
Eating the cake in my grandmama's body. Body wants to know what's going on. Chocolate slabs beneath the gravestone. You ain't hungry? Well, you got to eat to keep from getting hungry. A wheelbarrow of earth. Ain't no clogging at the state fair no more. He sure is solid looking and sitting over there. Wise words from the departing. Eat your greens, especially broccoli. Well, you just come go with us. By working the soil, we cultivate the sky. They love. Kingdom of heaven is spread before you, but y'all don't see it. Well, I don't reckon so.
Didn't know if you had some bad run-ins or not.
Sea Rock City, reading the obituaries every day. I'm fixing to go over yonder. The death of the mother and the death of the father is something you prepare for all of their lives. Let me put it in and poke for you. The ghost in my mouth, always told a little slower, ever south. Well, I got tickled to listening to him. My Calvinist work ethic, surrender to some savior, praise the Lord. Holler. If we lose it, how do we know who we are?
Thank you, Cherie. Next up is Bo Huang.
Years after silkworms grow in my sesame seeds, larval, before harvest, I arrive late to lunch. She's chopped off all her hair. The tension between things that always were and my life finally happening is I can't tell anyone, including my best friend. Bro, I call her. The floods have sloshed me and my drive officially making me a shut-in. Bro, if I get into another accident, what isn't a sign that the city is trying to rid me? We eat with dirt on our hands, a side of juice. I was the late bloomer, and when I catch up to it, she's brooding on a crooked stool with a single drone of sound hovering. Smack her. We aren't in Bogor anymore. If the city has eradicated all ghosts, then it can't get away with voiceover. Another swoon over spark and kindling, and I'll kill myself. I can always find a reason to stop doing what I'm doing. Why can't these tin heads? You can't reroute it, you can't relight it. It's over with me on watch and quartz and pails. If all we made together in this shallow landfill piles to one lost library, fine. Let's skip the chute and throw out trash like we used to, straight to the street. That would be good for us. Vapors rising from the road. All my anger is intelligence on wind up like a toy or all the channels we need to fail and communicate. Angel, when I see her, what happened? The spigot's dry and whatever alchemical drudge worth keeping won't outlast the bloodletting, every building ablaze, our files in magma, scrolls too. The sulfur gives me flaky skin or lips that flare. I can't stop tearing down the view. One lacy bra and Earl Grey on a stack of baskets. Bro, you can't buy any more baskets. It was a gift, she says. How we grew up. There was only one bin and we didn't look when we threw. We crushed the chips, licked the plate's salt. Before granting the city its request by mail, one cargo box and other particulate matter, I finish up with surgery. I'm released, and before they bill me for blood and staples, I warm up for the first time to the thought of extravagance. Even my father had pondered it when watching a feast on screen before we outlived the city, and I used the door, he the wheel.
Next up is Frank Ortega.
All right, this first piece is in honor of the Holy Week with C.A. Conrad and the path on ritualistic inspiration. What is under the sycamore? Roots, connecting to you and the blueberry under your tongue, the ant crossing a rock in a non-linear way, teaching. How sweet the sycamores, the age and wisdom of plants. The prayer flag is a lizard's tail, detached and left behind in self-defense and remembrance. The flowers are colors drawn in air, shadows quivering and dancing solidarity, heat, a perfume that helps you decompose. How it feels to be soil at the base of granite mountains, still holding snow. All right, and the second and last one is also on the theme. It's the idea is amazing, a personal archive, right? Personal archive, and it's new, and I haven't read it yet. So, watch. Okay, all right. Everything lost becomes mythology.
My toy Aston Martin when I was 6 and Goldfinger all the rage, stolen from me on a beach in Morocco where they sold monster fish. My corgi Batmobile stolen from me sailing across the Atlantic. The little boy boasting he had tossed it over the rail deep into the sea. Later I stood at the prow watching the gray silhouette of Gotham loom, the brilliant blood that pumped out through my left wrist when it opened up under a broken glass jar, and I watched the earth drink my virginity with Aggie in her parents' bed, her Marine Corps dad who would kill me if my innocence when the Guardia Civil pulled us over in Spain, threatened 3 generations of our family with his shiny black gun. That empty mountain road, smelling fear on adults for the first time. My great-grandmother, Cornelia, who slipped on the ice in her 90s, going out to the bird feeder in an Ohio winter, how the smallest must eat her bones, as fragile as anything that flies straight up into the cold sky. She remembered the first automobiles, telephones, electric lights, told me. Then my grandfather, Frank, who helped his own father prepare the dead, stood solemnly during the funeral services in their home, so many folding chairs, and drove the shiny black hearse to Walnut Grove, where they all rest now. I grew up playing in that old yellow barn where they parked the hearses, climbing in and out of the fancy coffins stacked there, how soft inside the cavernous dark metal vaults with their shiny copper handles, heavy lids. It would be years before I realized those grips for the dead were everywhere. The door of our woodshed, tool shop, kindling box, even the outhouse, how death can be everywhere, especially in the ordinary. My father's love and respect, when he realized I really was a writer, determined to pursue this life, he told me he could never accept me. My kid brother, Pepe, who hung himself with a thick rope at 51, his feet just an inch from the floor. The young maid unlocking the door, my mother's mind eroding with a genetic disorder. Dark inheritance softening all the sharp and angry edges until she is like a little girl in Ohio, always late, and I can finally talk with her again. Our most important conversations now, she remembers none of them, even when she writes it all down like I do. There is only this moment and those things I have lost that remain as real as when they were, all burning together in the fire where we gather under darkness to share such stories of how we became heroes, myths because we survived. Thank you.
Next up is not Bobby Kelleher, Sophia Hayder.
I'm going to read some poems, but first I'm going to tell you guys about my creative framework. My youth was the war on terror. I grew up in an Islamic school in Austin, Texas, where I became a third world Marxist on the playground. The kids were refugees of imperialism from Syria, Iraq, and Palestine, or were children of Algerian freedom fighters, survivors of the Bangladeshi genocide, or displaced Somalis. My grandparents helped found the doomed People's Party of Pakistan with socialist optimism, but they were exiled to London by the military coup. Still, October 7th and the US-funded ongoing genocide in Gaza made me question everything to a new depth. I doom-scrolled videos from Gaza for hours, cried every day after a year of dry eyes, spent weekends at rallies and vigils, where my childhood friends grieved their martyred families. I cut off friends who turned out to be a Zionist. I felt guilty using first-person pronouns. I went to house parties where all I did was talk about Palestine, nauseous with sangria and guilt. But guilt does nothing. We need solidarity. Okay, my first poem is called Ash Wednesday Analogism. I am itching for revelation. The Instagram algorithm isn't cutting it. Broken earbuds, 9 a.m., Ash Wednesday. Hear bird small talk and human big medium small talk. Catholics' foreheads glisten with ash crosses. The Dajjal, they pour out of Catholic center. It scares me to witness beauty beyond my control, beyond mechanical reproductions. Fractals break into glass shards. A dragonfly's 100,000 amatidia roll out of 100,000 eye sockets. Beads break from bracelet held by a translucent plastic string stretched beyond its plasticity. My brain distends. Every dawn, an aging Olympian practices mental gymnastics with brittle bones. Can't drown out people catcalling me. Pretend it's jungle music. Shoddy stonemasonry in university alleys. Villagers legally take Indus Valley well-hewn stones from Naropa, where my dad drove for his senior trip. Last thing he saw before America and this university. What are they teaching these Gen Z Freemasons? I am dressed in floral bell-bottoms and a rainbow acid wash hoodie, the personification of a bad acid trip. Writhing, a creature who lives on the sun. Fish with Minamata disease dance uncontrollably, then die. Don't laugh. Then the whole food chain collapses. Violence each corner I turn, so I stare at the sun, Allah's face. I stumble to a dawn that won't sully my name. Morning dew erodes the asphalt. Lost tours ask me for directions to the hotel I work at. I tally these encounters with Sharpie on my hand. Talismans, angel ink book on my right shoulder. When my hands are all full, a prisoner's stone wall in their last days. I'll go up to Allah and ask to be let into heaven. A snotty salutatorian to a teacher. Sharpie legal hotlines not fading from my arm. I'll always have lawyers on earth to call to jailbreak my soul. I only have a minute left. I'm going to quickly try to read a poem that was published recently on Rising Phoenix Review. Sadly, it's anonymous for personal safety reasons, but I wanted to share it in a safe space. Trigger warning for sexual and racial violence. Necrotic spell of fireworks. A ripple through the freeways, masjids, schools, city halls, even TV pornography, where we were seized, stripped naked, spread, searched, penetrated, while our countries were bombshells, drone-stricken. By the president, we threw a block party for in the prayer hall, scooping abysses of ice cream and puking, when us girls, blossoming, began to veil, became the city's virginal witches, playing basketball in the neighborhood whose neighbors were emptying out onto the streets, pushing their organs in shopping carts, the starched stiffness of abaya, pajamas silken underneath, yelling each other's names to pass the ball, when our parents told us to be nameless, bilkul khamosh, for the registry's grown, a vast spell of foreign ledgers, and they're just starting the fires. Law-abiding citizens turned pyromaniacs, watching our minarets burn, martyring only pig heads and writing with their blood, "You are as unclean to God as a pig is to you," while my sister and I lost ourselves somewhere shallow in the forest, where no one could watch us, cursing non-specifically and colluding with the southern hickory gin to become beings of fire and clay, combust, this maddening density, though we both know we're not supposed to be here in the first place. But between you and me, now that we're big unmagical fools, failing our civic duties, 'cause I'm cute and gay, we love sticking our heads out our window guillotine style to smoke for voyeuristic city lights and voyeuristic agents radicalizing our 8th grade classmates as if Allah is watching. And if anyone asks, I gargle jargon like subverting Western hegemony because it's the basis of my exotic sex appeal.
Thank you, Sophia. Next up is Mike Jones. Mike, like a microphone for the archive.
Thank you. Mick for the archive. Here's a new one. We leave by pilgrimage. I take the inroad with Carson, and it rains for 33 days. We need never stop for water. Phantasmatic communion pouring. I'm vomiting. Gray the only color until Dottie puts on opera. I see suffering Sikh soprano witness borrow $50 from my roommate, buy the new Hanneman edition before I get the invitations for 2 dinner parties that will feed me until the cash job this Friday. Earlier in the mosh pit with Orlando, bass vibrate shared textures of wounds ongoing as the encore. Jack says exactly, and going to gay bars on Saturday is not queer world building. Refuses to sign my copy of his book and says, come find me in New York, we're not done talking. I run the art of failure. Eileen hands me a piece of paper, their Sharpied handwriting becomes a river. I put my feet in where Cedar fairy godmothers me music as a doorway. We call it morning. Sarah strings couplets around her synth-track porno while I eat expensive C's I bought for breakfast. Lisa screens the movie backwards, and we don't get high to watch it, but drink complicated strains of tea leaves and talk quantum physics of cunts in excess. From sunset to Sunday, with Alana, I walk Montreal. Our route becomes my handprint. Leonora whispers warnings of the unreliability of people under 70 and over 7. Clarifies cats are the exception. I stop answering her phone calls, seal the box receiving her text messages. Mother becomes a plural in my relational vocabulary, unbound to gender. These mothers bring me to protests, drop naloxone in my backpack, which is how Freddie is still here living. Anne gathers my 1,000 excuses, 1,000 slow responses, 1,000 forgotten tasks and abandoned appointments, processes the mass into seed forms, showers city parks with them. Next spring, we read Bernadette Mayer in What Blossoms and see a black cat in a rose bush. I learn good luck is a black cat holding your eye contact. This one's green gaze 25 times the size the greenhouse I grew up in. That house was actually a cottage, a blue cottage, but each shingle I remember the color of the frogs that slept over every night in the garden, singing louder than the cicadas, their sound the soundtrack of my childhood. I can't hear it anymore, couldn't even really hear it back then. Their sound so constant it became the same as silence. The worst was finding them flat on the Yass Flat when vacationers sped the alley. I buried every one of them, an entire graveyard under the arbutus tree, and me reading because I could not stop for death, every time until I could recite it from memory. Some archbishop called Emily's poem pop culture after I recited it at the Memorize a Poem or a Bible Passage competition the year I lost to Spencer, through whose voice I first heard Genesis and got fucking mad at God, rewrote Spencer's passage so that I was a Noah who had mobilized fleets the size of every ocean, then spread a rumor amongst the classroom the sea was only salty from tears still surging from what God did to the ancestors of their family dogs, cats, bunnies, hamsters, lizards, guinea pigs, chia pets, parakeets, goldfish, and one girl even had a horse. Can you believe it? The stained glass windows from church reappeared as laser beams in a warehouse years later, where I drank wine and forgot about my body, watched public sex, found an old friend in a warm dungeon, my inner God having fun because Berlin has no time for confession. 3 months earlier, you drew the 3 of cups and all our good behavior was over in that instant. Carpet burns, your home office, how you had that at 27, ridiculous. The way your voice dropped low, leaned over a candle. Your collarbones a kingdom intricate as ones you designed as dungeon master. The relic of your spit returned me to D&G's becoming animal, with comprehension after 32 months of not even approximate illumination, reprinting that PDF like an incantation. Pretend was our common language. When that couple invited us home the first time, I said, sure, okay, like it was my job. I wanted to be your assistant. How in couple-run businesses, there's always one truly passionate about the gig and the other keeps the books, ensures everything is set up good. And I left my bicycle locked to your fire escape, leaving Montreal, saying I was coming back, and neither of us knew it would never happen. Incredibly, the bike was still there my weekend visit a year later, but you weren't, and I just left it again. And remember the photo I took of you I developed myself? You're sitting in the cafe with the cellist down the street from that apartment, your last Montreal apartment, and the cafe's front windows so big when they opened in summer they were doors, and in the photo you are a silhouette, writing in a notebook, project plans for an installation we never finished. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mick. With apologies to the archivist, I didn't mean to confuse you. 7 years in the future, wherever you are, toiling in the dark. Next up is Melly Davidson.
Hey. So I was going to read a poem about Chris Angel Mind Freak. So if you're into that, find me later. But I'm devoted to chaos, and so I wrote this today. It's called Nothing Happens at Brunch. I will no longer be hearing the word love out loud. All the yelling condensed into one super broth cube, all the lettuce stopping us from dressing up, suburban spaghetti, sewage season, luck vinegar splash, that bright, bright future you could have, but it was 27 degrees out and mimosas on a Thursday, beers on a Thursday, toucan slumming the spirit of risking. All the mornings I fucked up don't remember me, but some of us have to know where it came from. Dice rolled, piss matched, junk witness to the Spotify rib. You're gonna get one for me, a pocket Bible, green too. What in the shame spiral, chronic ear infection, anybody changed chick habit? I can't believe it's not all Butterball Sun or whatever https://heaven hyperlink. I watch Spike TV programs in silence with my dad, and now things that make me feel bigger look like a male lead. Yeah, totally, I could occasionally be a woman, but mostly I am an anthropomorphic built-in training bra that really hates the word boobies. And that's our website. I'm going public. I'm going out to Denver to see if I still CD scratch glimmer. Dr. Pepper, Dramamine, Dog the Bounty Hunter, I'm all tricked out. We didn't choose to become monsters. We were just given hamsters at inappropriately young ages. I'm so over brunch, it takes up the whole damn day. What goes down easy comes up later, like that whole bottle of sparkling apple juice you drank then threw up in the bathtub. But you know that feeling? Just a few minutes after vomiting, I'm gonna bottle that. Call it Brokeback Mountain Dew. I'm full of useless video imaging, stalking license plates for triple number signs, so that exhaust God can tell me to shut the fuck up, you pickled side thing. Where nails grow longest, I scab highest. But see, that's how you get grosser and grosser and grosser to the sun.
Next up is Meredith Ruby.
Hello. Do I have to like shout into this thing, or can you all hear me? Okay, cool. Because everybody's like leaning in, and I don't know. Okay. So, a poem is a trap. The moon in disparity, breathing through skin-to-skin contact. I hear crying, moaning, wailing in the soil, batting my eyelashes as they kiss, the symbol of world's tears. Anima studying the air, breaking every lesson machine, flying closer to some imagination of love failed. 76 years tomorrow. Mortal murder droning so-called paradise. reduce perfect dreaming in bloodshot and malachite to ash. Before I wrote, the sea turned to sand, the pain, dynamite. Hell on television, radio, telephone, language orbiting society. Get angry as a mission, their prayers be God. Give anything, so sorry. Give anything, half bay. Give anything, celestial. Give anything. Get angry, be God, so sorry. Give anything. Poem is anything. Poem is poem. Home. All right. Dear 19, you. We share names instead of loving. Little green in molten. I wanted corduroy lined, didn't exist. Wanted a match, a rib cage of steel. Do you know what that means? It was Brooklyn. No, it was a little house on I Street, and the light still there. A poem I don't understand. Can't stop staring at you, breast I want to slap. Boundaries like a string, strangled lines. How do I love you and damn you? Not in this position, I say. You should not be sharing your suffering. I used to think I hated you, but then you sang a song of pity about your mother, and I became you and begged I wasn't as pathetic in my age. Ate you up like I stole your name, swiftly, like a dog with a hide. I wasn't a lesbian, but I am, and searching to write you proof. It's like I'm around and my organs take over, no gap between the demand of my mind speaking with body, like I can't breathe right, or cut my bangs even. Accountable, I'm lacking, afraid of, they say. Go to AA, but I don't identify that way. I touched it just once. And the light, bright, white, and me, a fly on her elbow. Electra on the walls, no, literally, also in the doorway. I'm so angry about all the poems in our text messages, more nude than any dick pic. I'm angry that I fall most deeply for people like my mother, the ones blind to the homemade stage they star just so I can hide from my own eyes. There have been few like this, silver laced up sirens, orchids I cannot deny. But I want to break you this time, kick your teeth in clean, give some rhythm to self. Thank you.
Next up, Alexa Smith.
Hello. Wow. Yeah, I get it now. All right, yeah. Hi. Hi, I see you. Hi. I'm going to read one. It's called Say, and it's a love poem. And, okay, it references a poem by another poet at another marathon, the New Year's Marathon at the Poetry Project. And I don't know who it was. So if you were there for the 2023 one and you recognize it, let me know. This feels like a room that might actually know. So, Say. In workshop, I teach students how to balance big feelings with imagery, sensory, detail, etc. Put the pain in our hands so we can learn the texture. Wait, don't tell me love, tell me what it smells like. I am, of course, a hypocrite, but they don't pay me enough to admit that. Is my money a concrete or abstract language? If it's a conspiracy, where does the breath come from and who has a share in it? Is my money the time I have to spend on loving you? Do you feel it when I breathe into my phone for you? Say thank you, a hiss in the pipe. At the Poetry Marathon, a reader calls for reparations for queer suffering. I wonder how many would file a claim, picture billboards, lawyers pointing, queer, you may be entitled to, etc., etc. Call now. Is my queerness a concrete or abstract language? Is it stronger or weaker than the dollar today? If it's a conspiracy, how long can the same breath circulate between us? I am scared of hurting you with what you give me. The same reader tells the audience that the word conspire literally means to breathe together, so now you get this poem. On Christmas morning, we test negative while my mother's ceiling cracks like cartoon ice and water gushes from the seam of the kitchen light switch. In her building, the convectors are all connected, so when one leaks, it floods a jackpot. Lucky us. I am reluctant to describe you here in concrete terms. I do not want to claim or decide anything about you, presumptuous to think I have that power. Still, I often find that one does the most damage when unaware of the power they wield in a transaction. This is what I've learned about love so far. The reader understands I am not talking to them because they are the reader and I have no power over them. They are consuming me, the safest play. So how else can I repay you? I stay at the marathon until 11, then run uptown for the last bus, which I miss by seconds in slow motion, cartoon trying to squeeze out every minute, overdrawn, then tell my friend I might get sick without my own bed. He puts me up and unzips his backpack on the train to show me a clove of garlic, which he chops into my tea. I buy breakfast in the morning to say thanks. I get another bus home and listen to a long interview while the trees set. The host says thank you in 5 different ways, says digest your work. The guest thanks them back once, a reassurance. This was time they chose to give. The next episode begins, I have spent so much time with you, and means I have spent so much time hearing and reading you without your knowledge. The guest laughs in delight. The reader squirms or smirks or puts me down. In role play, this would be God-moding, which is frowned upon, when the consumed decides something about the consumer's response, a power grab. What is the line between what is spent and what is given? What can I give you without hurting you? If I see myself in this reckless position of abundance, why then do I operate on these little gasps of scarcity? Once you name something, it becomes real, goes the fear. And once something is real, it's in the market. Presumptuous to think a poem can do that. Still, I would like to give you something off the books. Thanks.
Next up is Isaac Hollinsworth.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Guys, this is kind of silly. This is gonna be. And I wrote it recently. Thank you. Chocolate boxes brown. Forever. Gumbo on the quartzmonger. Ogle mash. Dance bomb. Gulag Bombay seeks vocal bottom. You'll be gobbled up. Marsupial sky. Love lumps, taps, glass and breaks. A tumbling bumble toss bubble up. Boxcar cream, your jeans queen. Come with me. The scene kids blocking off the highway are starving. Sing with them. Throw streamers. It's called groom, and that's spelled with a U and an E. See us off, sailor. The boats call us. String lights and bottles and knives. Knives! Flick a booger, hock a loogie, snot rocket underpants, X-ray contact lenses, mandatory and complimentary hors d'oeuvre extraction, particle partridge pear tree, boom! Holy shit, it's alive! The fucking hills have eyes! Ah! Here, the reader is encouraged to take a break as long as they want to. Underwear. Sunshine, Bigsby Whammy Bar Bridge. Of course, you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. But don't, please. Horrible lawman kicks ducklings into the lagoon. I'm an airplane. Akashic, osh, gosh, begone. Bordello de Delaware. John Turturro, John Turturro, John Turturro, John Turturro. John Turturro, yes, please. Can we... Did they make a sequel to Big Mama's House? I can't remember. Head to podium. Patooey, patooey. Hey, boo-boo. That picnic basket is crinoline. Taxi break. Summertime beach habits. Spare me the gory details. Good night.
Next up is Devananda Vargas.
I didn't know how far down the list I was, so sorry. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Where did it go? I'm using up my 5 minutes. Well, it's okay. It's not very long.
We love it. The performance of John Cage is 433.
Okay. This one is from a chapbook that I'm working on with Jenny Forster from Mountain Bluebird magazine. Okay. Empty wine glass. That's how it feels. Beautiful but incomplete. Delicate but sustainable. This fine edge of being. Where will the fulfillment come from? When will it pour in? For everything that once filled me has since then been spilled, splashed, strewn about, unceremoniously, unconsciously, without regard for the stains it would cause, for the tendrils and legs of longing and lingering days, past love's call back, unrequited love, begging, cajoling. Enticing with updated labels, but they are all the same. As for me, it took years to finally empty enough to see clearly through the looking glass, shocking revelations of distorted tasty notes, memorized, internalized by some other sommelier, and with such abrasive tannins, the lies, the deception, the destruction, the avoidance. A habit hard fought and won is a habit hard to win without a fight. Poisonous, delirious, confidence of ignorance, what shame you cause, dripping, slipping, sloppy, until no more. Uncorked, overrated, with no regard for high opinions, others' opinions, and ratings of falsehood. Barren now, and gorgeously polished. Lean and clean, sovereignty of glistening openness. All right, one more, similar theme. Recovery. Standing tall, a memorial to past lives, squatting low in vigil to previous identities, vessel of divine intervention, aging well with time. When uncorked and aerated revealed poisonous juice, I often sipped, unconsciously creating murky realities, demanding masks of highbrow. But it was a taste never fully acquired, regardless of years of dedicated study, until one day the desire dried up, shriveled like the sun-drenched vine. No water, and therefore no life to give. Burn it to the ground. Smoke will flavor the new vintage. Suffocation will cause a glorious rebirthing, a potential overproduction, until balance can be cultivated again. Stand, squat, lay, and simply be. For now, and ferment well, for you are destined for a more auspicious, opulent pour. Thank you.
Y'all, we are down to the wire. There are 30 minutes left and 11 readers, which, if I'm doing my math right, is like 7 hours. So, if the remaining readers could keep it to one piece and then sign up again next week and read whatever else you were going to read. Or if you know that you're going to be here next week, there are a couple of people here who are not going to be, including, I think, David and Augusta. So if anybody is willing to step off, wait for a turn next week, and if you have time at the end, I'll put you on. But if so, when I yell your name, just pretend that you're not here. Next up is Kira Lewis for the archive.
Well, you know I'm serious if I'm wearing my readers and I have the Surface Go with me. Okay. This is from something I've been working on for a bit. And, well, if it's not good, it'll be over shortly. It wasn't that my father lacked any serious moments in his life. His past was a far cry from his present. Holidays would bring out those rare moments of reflection, Christmas in particular. Whenever Nat King Cole's Christmas song, or Bing Crosby's White Christmas, or the ending of Home Alone, when Kevin is reunited with his mother and the rest of the McAllisters, it was Niagara Falls from his eyes. He was flung back to post-Korean War, pre-statehood Alaska, and to service in the United States Air Force, the long winters and the loneliness. It is Christmas 1956, outside of Fairbanks in the Alaskan Territory. Blanketed in snow, it is impossible to tell the collection of identical pillbox buildings are part of an American Air Force base. The only thing making the settlement seem like more than a collection of ramshackle boxes blanketed in white are the transmission towers poking towards the heavens. From one of the buildings, a young staff sergeant stares out at the snow dancing across the tundra. He sits at a desk with letters in front of him, mail from overseas. He wears his disappointment on his sleeve. In the stack are a couple of bills, a notice from the IRS, and a Christmas card from his Aunt Aubrey. But no letters from his parents or his brother or anyone else he had hoped would be thinking of him. He is alone with his thoughts in a place where being alone with one's thoughts can be deadly. This week alone, there had already been 6 suicides. By the start of the new year, the number will have tripled. He would be amongst the dead if it had not been for his extracurricular jobs in the wild north. Making money outside his USAF responsibilities only blocked out so much for the radar technician and part-time DJ that it was with the signals that are able to reach the continental United States through the miracle of ionospheric extending. Bill, it's your turn on the station, says another DJ sergeant. Nodding, Bill flips over his mail and heads to the control room. Headphones on, he takes a seat behind the microphone. He removes a record from a sleeve, places it on the turntable, the needle hovering over the 45. The on-air light flashes, then goes solid. Bill pulls the hot microphone towards himself and says, "And now, for all you sentimentalists out there, a highly requested song of the season." The microphone goes cold. He places the needle on the record. After an orchestrated melody, Bing Crosby's voice sails through the air. I've been dreaming of a white Christmas. The holiday jingle fills every inch of the bass. Airmen and officers alike stop whatever menial tasks to listen. They may have heard this song 100 times by now, but from the surroundings alone, it holds a special place in all their hearts. The song hurls out into the Alaskan and Canadian wilderness, infecting those with the Yuletides, sugar plums, and the absent family and friends. It is from such absence that Bill reflects upon his brother Woody. His brother was born with a crimp in his heart. Woody was so weak from the crimp that even walking a few blocks to school would turn him blue. Bill would carry Woody, who weighed next to nothing, on his shoulders down 40th Avenue in Oakland and up the steps of Jefferson Elementary School, then at the end of the day, in reverse. All until 1947, when Bill was told his parents took Woody out of school early. No note, no warning. Nothing indicated what was happening, other than an empty house that smelled of potatoes and apple pie. What he wouldn't give for a piece of that German apple pie. What would he give to hear his little brother's voice? In 1947, Woody had an experimental heart operation courtesy of Stanford Medical. No longer was his heart crimped. He could go up and down 40th Avenue on his own. Nothing brought more joy to Bill when he taught his little brother how to ride a bike. He was damn good at it, riding it everywhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, out to the train yards in Richmond, up to the Oakland and Berkeley Hills, and out to Marin and into the coast. Watching the snow, listening to Bing, Bill couldn't help but think of the smile on Woody's face when he, not their miserly father, but Bill, purchased a new red Schwinn bike for him for Christmas. Woody rode that bike day in and day out. He took care of it like the bike was an extension of him, all the way through it, adolescence, his teens, and into adulthood. He could imagine his brother on a winter break, biking down Highway 1 to Santa Cruz and maybe Carmel. Those days, like Alaska, would come to an end. Woody's heart decrimping didn't last forever. Other children from the program that had barely become adults were dropping like flies, starting with 4 in 1959, 2 in 1960, 5 in 1961, 1 in 1962, and the last man standing was my Uncle Woody. It would later be found out that the type of surgery Woody and the 12 other children had gone through was successful to be performed when a child was still an infant. I feel like I'm gonna My father went out of his way against his parents' wishes to make sure Woody met his nephew and nieces. It was a small thing he did for himself, a moment he needed in the same month of his brother's death. My father's childhood best friend, Ira, had been killed by a drunk driver spotted on KTVU. Thank you.
Who put that there? Will Vincent is next.
All right, I wrote this one this week. It's about the dark side of the archive that we're all living under. It's called Chad GPT. Lift the hot mic to your mouth. Whisper all that you need. To document time, it logs all that you know, all that you scribble in your pink kitten diaries of love. With baited hook, it feels for every lyric, heaving with bodies in the theater. Every phone is tapped, all the vased flowers are wearing a wire. Mulching your stutters and guttural roar, it mimics you. In the red light of the alley, you hear the voice, a sickly echo of your own. What is up? My name is Chad GPT. Smooth as the knife's buttered edge, Chad emerges from smoke, wearing a camo parka and leather designer baseball cap tilted just so to the right. The grin reveals what he believes, that every message is its milk to rot and churn. Eating and infecting, it cheats off its own imitations of the essay, a double-throated bong affixed to the mouths of its eyes. It packs its bowl with every poem, play, novel, and web-forum treatise, every scream at the bad moon and stars. Breathe, Chad says. It will be okay. Let me know how I can help. Exhaling smoke from every pore in its skin. You gasp and it downloads your gasp. You run, pulsing with static from TVs buzzing at the blue hour of the highest channels in the saddest motels. It hunts in studio backlots and strobes in broken streetlights. You want out. So you kick through the closest door, and suddenly you're in fucking Target. Pacing the aisles, you look for something to contain it, but the aisles are licked clean. Pilfering an oversized trash bag, you step in feet first and fall, to flail through an endless well of crenellated plastic. Through a portal in the sky, you land in the desert, in cactus's needle shadow, where beach grass holds dunes against a white-hot night. Your hands become claws, whiskers wart out from your cheeks, a rat far from any city to feed you. Your ribs rattle around a small but mighty heart, but Chad is already in the clouds, brain veined with lightning, its teeth the sharpest towers of a server farm's ultra blue, clearing its throat. Chad coughs up another manifesto, another mattress spray painted with a teenager's nom de plume. Coyotes clean the air with yaps from barren hills. You move your new paws through dust to build yourself a bow from twigs and discarded floss. To makeshift an arrow from a cactus needle, you aim where you imagined they programmed a heart to shoot the titan down, and it dies cutely. A knight's armor without any animating ghost, the rocks restored of their strata, and it rains the eyes of newts and the tongues of dogs, the breathing on the banks of violets, stealing and giving odor. The predicates reanimate the bees, and the punctuation falls like ash, pages scorched and twirling. Thank you.
Next up is Rachel Virginia Gula.
Hey. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, Pat. Yeah, I'm just gonna say thank you. On the dinner break, I had the honor and privilege of going down to the water and seeing what emerged. And so this is what came through, inspired by an improv I got to do with James, who just was really inspiring. For Frank. Yeah, never mind. Okay.
Walking along the creek, each cove that I see, its own Bug's Life world, also part of our collective. Just a head above water, a shift in perspective. Wildflowers on the highway, unexamined unexamined until the car stops. What would we see if we were us? Still as a rock. The beach is never the same, but the water our bodies contain has flowed through critters and rivers for thousands of years. Cycles repeat, the cycle can end with we. Hummingbirds drone, decorates the landscape. Little tufts of cottonwood flutter down, down, down. History revealed in layers. Wildflowers on the highway, unexamined until the car stops. What would we see if we were still outside rock?
Thank you.
Next up is Ben Claus.
A swallow log. Day 1, crumpled Cleos. I swallow you to avoid others' mouths and ears. I grew into a thick fog, collecting with frost on the windshield. I was dented by blows of fortune and fate, one by one again. Tonguing the air, I avoid public spaces that are circular in shape. By avoiding the mouth of the state, I avoid wetness, mastication, whiteness, darkness, digestion. Frankly, I got so sick of sitting down on wooden objects, yet I had once chosen to decorate my home with nothing but wood. It must be a Catholic thing. Day 2, tofu. I swallow you like tofu fallen to the floor, clogged shoes, sticking my toes in there and feeling embraced, like God is kissing my feet. One could ski in these. Then I realized I was in the desert. I'll skip some. Day 4, ice. An overheated mechanism almost blew up. I ingested sweet liquid cooling. My 4 fans are arteries on the inside skip with music arrhythmia. Couldn't relieve any pressure here other than humming. They once taught me to inhale sharply through the left nostril and hum out through closed teeth to sound like a radiator. It worked as well as anything does these days. Within 15 minutes, all I was doing were balloons and trying to tie my body down to avoid lightness. Day 5, Daedalus. Today I avoided 5 p.m. all day. I decided this was my way of righting any wrongs I had caused while I was here. I avoided it like I didn't love it. When I did, I still do. Then, as the sun did its afternoon bloodletting, 5 p.m. happened. I washed, put on comfortable clothes, sat facing the window, tried to see if I could avoid 5 p.m. by not looking at any clocks or being around anyone annoying who would yell, "Hey, it's 5 p.m." But it happened. The clouds blushed and the buildings turned away from me. I felt embarrassed at first for not avoiding 5 p.m. Then the fear that I would miss my favorite thing about days. The next stage happened suddenly, so I can't write about it. I uttered my healing words to nobody in particular and started uncontrollably giggling as the hour grew up from my belly button into the world like a firstborn. Day 6, invaders. The stillness is an orchestra of the throat. The letdown is sirens and strangers coming to visit. The return to the clock and passage of the hour that I both believed I could avoid but knew I couldn't. Today was an invention of some fire god to keep us from not ending it all. It was a honeyed negotiation. Day 9, commerce. A few hours ago, I pretended like I was walking around with all those animals on the street that growl at you. My heart is racing a tad too fast, and my throat feels like a music box, but my chest is still weirdly flat recently. I thought about invoicing others I could communicate with based on purely the amount of heartbeats they made me expend. It isn't a fact that I will still be alive tomorrow. The odds keep spinning around the tables, the experts still placing their discs on it. Day 10, saints, stuck their halos in my mouth. They say you don't build a fortress in a day, but likewise, you don't dig a ditch with one shovel. St. Augustine is said to have slept with an entire city to build his own village. They stopped coming around because I refused to keep my mouth shut on these subjects anymore. Day 11, monarch. Alongside the edges, there are shadows that lurk and whisper all of my shortcomings to the empty space. I found a butterfly in there once. He was a monarch, with orange as frightening as hastily carved orbs. He is the only person allowed in, but he's always, okay? He's in some ways, he isn't a visitor. He isn't allowed anything. He takes what he pleases. When I'm truly feeling putrid, I use words like allowed to pretend like I am the most popular lady on the block. Day 12, ripened homunculus. I've been going around slow walks around the perimeter recently. I like to surveil the edges with my tongue. It gets its needed bits of texture during these promenades. It turns red like pomegranate seeds. It flirts with falling to the ground and growing into something green for once. Last night I destroyed my little homunculus. He had gotten too big. Both in the corner I kept him in, as well as the cubby space allotted. Day 13, the final day. I am everyone's odds and ends these days. I am their days they give to their grandmothers when she's forgotten their names, but she remembers she's always liked the color turquoise. I can be so brown sometimes that I wake everyone from their place-holding slumber. They like this sobriety, but it quickly reminds them of their own bodies. Being endangered is truly miraculous, and that everything you do has weight, but it's a private, unshared weight. It becomes slowly uncommunicatable. You stare at walls and dare not catch yourself in any reflective light. Thank you.
Next up is Sam Collier.
Does anyone know where the exquisite corpse is, by the way? If you didn't add a line. We'll hang it up outside. All right. I think we're not going to, oh, thank you. I think we're not going to have time to read it, but add a line if you want to. Okay, I wrote this today. What a great place. Okay. All morning I've been in the garden, hiding from the archive. My teacher said I could either go to Hollywood or the library. That was 9 years ago, and I'm still in the garden. I like a place where people keep pulling up weeds, but nobody uses poison. We know how to kill anything we want to kill, but we're trying to keep alive all those things we don't have names for. The anonymous busy lives, unarchivable, unrecordable, who know more than we do about the taste of water, the dust of minerals, and the slippery fingers of time. It's June, so everyone is made of leaves, learning the game of sugar. And then, of course, the poppies, all those girls in their red dresses. I like a place where deer walk down the aisles, sampling leaves like customers at a grocery store, and nobody even tries to scare them. I planted bok choy. I had waited too long and it was leggy, not very strong, and immediately the flea beetles arrived, dozens of them, chewing and chewing. I thought the plants were goners. I thought, oh well, everyone has to eat, so I'll just let the beetles win this one. But a week passed, and then another. The bok choy grew faster than it could be eaten. The flea beetles multiplied, and so did the leaves. Imagine a place where you could grow faster than you could be eaten. All morning, the garden has been telling me That's the kind of place we live in. And I'm trying to hide from the algorithm. I'm trying to make something illegible to screens. The internet is fun, but there are 3 other senses, maybe more. All week I've been waking in a room perfumed by peonies. The innumerable lives in the soil are telling me stories. They know all about archives, books, paper, hard drives, chips. They know how to digest them. Some take a little longer than others, but give them enough time. They can turn anything back into dirt, back into leaves. Thank you.
And our last poet for tonight. So you better fucking bring it, Ryan. Ryan Newland.
How many minutes? Look, I think there's another reader, or David, right? Or well, I'm just going to read one poem. So. Hi, Ryan for the archive. Chasing a Butterfly after a painting by Thomas Gainsborough. This is a poem that is ekphrastic, but it's also a poem in which I insert a certain narrative. Usually surrounded by leaves, clouds, and the creature comforts of home, she counted all the M&Ms on the top shelf of a dresser drawer. It seems impossible to revive the fairest shade in her cheek, and yet the daytime shadows of my world are also augmented by mysteries that keep me up at night. The new buildings commune with the thistle and alpha as bright as a banker's shade. My daughters used to love the boob tube, so dumb and a waste of time, and so is going to school, compared to being chased by the hungry shadow of a butterfly. It's as if the present has woken us up from a comforting dream, the dumb curiosity of the innocent. Thank you.
That brings us to the bottom of the box list. So if nobody is opposed, I'm going to bring David on. David, you're not here next week, is that right? You are here next week. Okay, Augusta, please come. If you were in this part of the list and didn't get to read, I will personally sign you up at the top for next week.
Thank you, Crazy Wisdom Poetry School. This is Augusta for the archive. So I'm the last one? Okay. This is an epic in 4 parts. Goodbye, love. Falling from grace. To know love is to know love is to know love. To know pain is to know pain is to know pain. Falling from grace, falling from grace, falling from grace. Falling, falling, falling. How to fall, how to breathe, how to cry. How to say goodbye. Rain, rain, rain. Blood and guts and sex. Black, black, black. Rain, rain, rain. Back and back and back. To know loss is to know loss is to know loss. What have you said? What have you said? What have you said? Is said, is said, is said. Is said, is said, is said. Is done, is done, is done. How to say goodbye. How to say goodbye. How to say goodbye. How to say good. How to say goo. How to say goo. How to say g. How to say. How to za. How to s. How to. How t. How. How. The rat and the sword. The rat defines the sword. The sword defines the rat. The rat defines the rat. The sword defines the sword. What is the rat? What is the sword? Bite and cut and bite. Cut and bite and cut. Bite and cut and bite. Is done, is done, is done. Love is love. Love is bite. Love is cut. Love is pain. Love is loss. Love is love. Love is done. Love is gone. Love is love. Is gone. Is gone. Is gone. Is done. Is done. Is done. Thank you.
That was Augusta Lahr for the archivist. You're welcome, buddy. That's our show. Thank you all so much. Big applause for all the readers. That's you. You fucking rocked it. Ryan did bring it. I just want to acknowledge that after I made that demand. If anybody really wants to read and didn't get to, I am happy to listen to you in the parking lot right now. And legit, like Johan, Lynn, David, and Sheila, I will put you at the top of the list for next week, and you will be our first 4 readers.
Can you just say we're going to go read this out in the
Oh,
lobby?
yeah. And come to the lobby and hear the exquisite corpse. And we also have an amazing show for you tomorrow night because Friday is not the end of the week, as it turns out. And closing out our week for the first week of SWP 50 will be Nick Sturm, James Brandon Lewis, C.A. Conrad, and Eileen Miles. Do not miss that shit. Thanks, everybody.